Thank you to Squarespace for sponsoring this video. Whether you're in need of a website, domain, or online store, make your next move with Squarespace. Have you ever wanted to go out and take some photos, but the weather's just been rubbish? Well, today that's been me, and as much as I want to just go out and take some photos anyway, I know that they always could have been just that little bit better if I waited for the right kind of light and conditions. Sometimes there's a much more wise way to spend your time. Maybe you could be putting a bit more effort into planning your photography so that on the days when the conditions are great, you get the most out of it. So basically, I'm just going to be talking about some of the things that I think are really helpful to do, some of the resources that I use, and at first I'm going to be talking about the kind of going out and shooting just scenes, like outdoory stuff, and then afterwards I'm going to be talking about planned portraiture. So the first thing, which is quite important to me, is location. So there's a few different things that you can do. One of the first things that I quite like to do is to either just go for a walk or go for a drive if you can, and just explore. Go out and try and find things that you would like to go and photograph later, take a photo of them on your phone, write them down, build up this kind of stockpile of places that you want to visit. One of the great things about taking photos on your phones is that often your phone will then geotag where it was. So even if you've taken a photo somewhere in the past and you can't remember where it was, you can normally just kind of swipe up and figure out exactly where you were. And also, if you can't actually get to this place that you want to be, why not try Google Street View? This is something which I've done quite a few times. Actually, this week I was looking for these fields which I found in the summer, which had some wild horses in. And I was kind of imaginary driving through the drive that I did. And I actually came across this pretty interesting scene of some cows, which I'm glad I wasn't there on that day. That's all I can say. The second thing is kind of in tandem with the location, and that is lighting. So it's really important to figure out whether your scene will be best in the morning or in the evening. So you normally have those kind of few hours of the best kind of directional light in the beginning and the end of the day. And figuring out whether the light hits your subject in the morning or evening can really help you to nail the shot. And you can do this by either just being there and looking at the sun, or by using some apps which kind of show the trajectory of the sunrise and sunset. And here I have some examples. So the first one is this photo taken at a lift lobby. And what I had to do here was kind of balance the equilibrium of trying to get an even exposure out inside and outside. So what I had to do for this was periodically check when I thought the light would be most balanced between outside not being too bright and the sun still coming inside a bit to light up the corridor. And I did this basically by just going in and out quite a few times and then marked down when I thought it'd be best for the day after, and then just went and did it. And a second example, I guess, is kind of what I'm saying to avoid, which is this photo which I took in Cornwall. As much as I actually do still like it, I just think it could have been a bit more interesting if it had that kind of directional light. But unfortunately, there wasn't much I could do because the weather on the trip just wasn't that great. And the next thing, which I think it kind of ties into all of this, is organizing everything that you do. So whenever I have a photo which comes to mind, I write it down in the notes on my phone, and then I have this kind of shot list, I guess, of all the things which I'm thinking about, which can kind of go towards this project, or just random photos which I think would be cool. And then I do something else as well, which is using Google Maps. I didn't know until fairly recently, I guess, there is this ability to make your own maps on Google Maps. And on this, you can categorize things and mark locations. So what I'd normally do is create a map of the area and mark down places that I want to take photos and places that I already have taken photos. And I just find this really easy to kind of keep track of everything, have them separated, and you can even like plan routes between each one. So if you really had your stuff together, you could figure out the timings to get between locations and in the order that the lighting would be best if you did the previous step. And then portraits, I guess, are a bit different. So the first thing which I think is quite important for portraiture is mood boarding. Kind of just surfing around and getting an idea and a feel for the vibe that you want to create. So I think one of the great things for this is Instagram, just browsing through hashtags, browsing through people that you like that do good portraiture. And then another one is Pinterest. I kind of neglected Pinterest for quite a while, but it is a really great way of collecting images and drawing things together. And if that's not your vibe, or if all the images aren't already on Pinterest, sometimes I just used a PowerPoint. Then I also think it's important to make a shot list. Just write down everything that you hope to achieve, so that then on the day, you can go back through and say, yep, got that one. And you can kind of treat it as a checklist. And of course, this kind of goes without saying, pay attention to some of the previous steps as well, because location and lighting it's still just as important in portraiture. And a few other things, just go out and do stuff. Go and experience some photos, go and experience art of all kinds, read books, browse people's portfolios online, and soak up as much kind of inspiration from all kinds of things. It could be movies, it could be paintings. There's lots of things where you can draw from to kind of have this idea of something else which you can turn it into. So yeah, these are some things to think about. Hopefully it gets less overcast soon. So thank you again to Squarespace for sponsoring this video. If you're in need of building a website for any need, whether it's a photography portfolio or a shop or just a blog, literally anything, you can make a website about it really easily and it will look super professional and cool, and you definitely don't need any prior experience. And you can get 10% off if you use the code negativefeedback, so it's definitely worth giving it a go. Thank you very much for watching, and hopefully winter will stop being so grey soon and we can all go out and take some nice photos.